A social movement of extreme downsizing is taking off all over the country, even right here in Colorado.
And many are calling it the tiny house movement. Fox 21's Aisha Morales is here with her special report. Aisha.
Joe, Lauren, the economy is still working on getting back on its feet, so it makes sense for people to start thinking about downsizing. But as you're about to see, there's a lot of reasons why folks decide to live in a tiny house.
This is taking downsizing to a whole new level. They're popping up everywhere, and if you blink, you might miss one.
Last spring, everything finally did fall into place, and I just jumped in and started building, bought a trailer and just started building it.
We talked to Greg via Skype. He lives in Durango. For him, living in a tiny house is about simplicity.
I own my house outright, which is true of most people that live in a tiny house. I built it with my own two hands, so it's kind of like, it's a piece of art for me. And it's just, I don't have that much stuff. You just can't. Tiny houses don't hold that much stuff.
The average American home is around 2,600 square feet. A tiny house is, well, smaller and can range between 100 to 400 feet.
Regular wiring, just like a house on the interior. Fiberglass shower, it's just a house on wheels, as you can see.
If you don't want to build your own like Greg did, you can come to these guys at the Shed Yard in Colorado Springs.
The process starts out with a blank trailer like this one, then in a matter of days it turns into this, a full house. The whole process, however, takes over a month.
Their partnership is with Tumbleweed Tiny House Company out of California.
We were interested, like, oh, wow, what's the tiny house movement all about? So we went to one of them, met one of the guys, and he was like, hey, we're looking for a company that does these, manufactures these for us. We're working on the RVIA certification. And we're like, okay, let's see what we can do. And it worked out because business is booming. Simplicity isn't the only reason why tiny house owners downsize. Instead of having a $1,000 or $1,200 mortgage, you could buy one of these and only have, $200, $300. According to tinyhouselife.com, 68% of tiny house owners have no mortgage compared to 29.3% of all U.S. homeowners. There's people that actually use it as a home. There's others that use it as rental income. It's a great rental market as well. People love to experience a tiny house, so they come and they rent these. Otherwise, this is a way of living.
Everything has a place in a tiny house.
And having possessions doesn't mean much anymore.
You actually find when you sort of get rid of those things, you tend to be a little happier because it's just one less thing to worry about.
Also, you don't need to make as much money to cover this lifestyle.
I do have a water tank for my supply water, and so it's a 50-gallon tank. I have to fill it up about every 2 weeks. And, that'll do my dishes, take a shower, drinking water, those sorts of things.
Green living is popular amongst tiny housers.
This interview, on my side of things, it's all solar powered, so.
So where can you put your tiny house?
I was just out looking for a spot to park it one day.
Some people find some land or even a backyard.
And more times than not, the owner is like, well, sure, it's very minimal impact on my land. And I get to make a little extra income.
Tiny house living might not be for you, but who knows? It might open your eyes to much bigger things.
Now, what's really cool to see is how unique each tiny house is. They're all an expression of the owner's personality. Now, Greg, who you saw, decided to start his own company out of Durango. He's a sole owner of Rocky Mountain Tiny Houses. He says the tiny house movement is just taking off. A year ago, he was getting 1 client a month, whereas nowadays he gets about 4 calls a day. Joe, Lauren?
Wow, pretty cool stuff.
Did you do it?
I don't know. It's a lot of stuff you have to get rid of.
Yeah, like children.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't think you'd be in there with kids,
I think
that's for
it's
sure.
something for single guys.
You could have one for each child.
Exactly.